Hey guys, BJ with very basic Bible. Let's search for a Bible text. See what we find about it, huh? Let's go to, we'll try Proverbs 23. Let's look at this. Proverbs 23. We'll hit the old, wait, we'll hit parallel chapters. Awesome. There we go. We'll start with the NASB right here in the middle. When you sit down to dine with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you and put a knife to your throat if you are a man of great appetite. Do not desire his delicacies, for it is deceptive food. Do not weary yourself to gain wealth. Cease from your consideration of it. When you set your eyes on it, it is gone. For wealth certainly makes itself wings like an eagle that flies toward the heavens. Do not eat the bread of a selfish man or desire his delicacies, for as he thinks within himself, so he is. He says to you, eat and drink, but his heart is not with you. You will vomit up the morsel you have eaten and waste your compliments. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Do not move the ancient boundary, or go into the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is strong. He will plead their case against you. Apply your heart to discipline and your ears to to words of knowledge. Do not hold back discipline from the child. Although you strike him with the rod, he will not die. And you shall strike him with the rod and rescue his soul from Sheol. Hmm. My son, if your heart is wise, my own heart also will be glad. My inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but live in the fear of the Lord always. Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Listen, my son, and be wise, and direct your heart in the way. Do not be heavy with the drinkers of wine, or gluttonous eaters of meat. Do not be with heavy drinkers of wine, or with gluttonous eaters of meat. For the heavy drinker and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will clothe one with rags. Listen to your father who begot you, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy truth and do not sell it. Get wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous will rejoice greatly, greatly rejoice. And he who sires a wise son will be glad in him. Let your father and your mother be glad, and let her rejoice who gave birth to you. Give me your heart, my son, and let your eyes delight in my ways. For a harlot is a deep pit, and an adulterous woman is a narrow well. She lurks as a robber, and increases the faithless among men. Who has woe, who has sorrow, who has contentions, who has complaining, who has wounds without cause, who has redness of eyes? Those who linger long over wine, those who go to taste the mixed wine. Do not look on the wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cups, when it goes down smoothly at the last, bites like a serpent, stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange things, and your mind will utter perverse things. And you will be like one who lies down in the middle of the sea, or like one who lies down on the top of a mast. Hmm. They struck me, but I did not become ill. They beat me, but I did not know it. When shall I awake? I will seek another drink. That's so funny at the end there. Yeah, I wonder if Proverbs 24 continues. Probably not. With the drunkard thing, do not be envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them, for their minds devise violence, and their lips talk of trouble. Okay, okay. So, got us a basic chapter of Proverbs, huh? What did we notice about it? Just reading it. I started to get like teary-eyed when I was like reading some of that and kind of laughing. I normally don't cry when I laugh hard. I wasn't getting sad. I don't know. It just started happening. The emotion. I don't know. Okay. What'd you notice? Some things that I noticed, okay? When you sit down with a ruler, consider carefully, put a knife to your throat, but don't desire his delicacies, the rulers. Put a knife to your throat if you're a man of great appetite. Don't desire his delicacies. Okay. Then verse 4. Do not weary yourself to gain wealth. I'm like, wait a minute, does that relate to verses 1 through 3? Oh, so maybe really verses 1 through 3 was talking about wealth. It wasn't talking about food. Whenever you seek riches, if you really like what you see and you really don't do it, don't desire it. For wealth is it is gone. It'll make yourself like wings and fly away. Because then, verse 6, do not eat the bread of a selfish man. We're back to food. He says to you, eat and drink, and you will vomit up your morsel. But so it goes back to it. So what if verses, where is it at? 4 and 5 are really also about food, or verses 1, 2, 3, or verses 5, 6, 7, and 8, which are about food. Okay, they use food. It talks about a food here, put a knife, a food there. This one talks about a ruler. This one talks about, where is it at? A selfish man. You're desiring the food of a ruler, of a selfish man. But right in the middle, you got something about wealth. It's like a sandwich. Food of a person, of one type of person on top, food of another type of person on the bottom, and then what's in the middle? Wealth. We would be very tempted to say, oh, I see a structure. I see it planned out a certain way. I think the author did that on purpose. When you build a house, you put a brick here, then mortar, then brick there, then mortar, then brick, then brick. Then you put a layer of stones across to hold it all. Then you put a brick, and then a brick, a brick, a brick, then a layer of stones to hold it. If you ever look at some houses have that, you know, um, if you're going to build a bridge, you put feet and pillars in the water, and you put pillars in the water, then you put planks. The pillars that hold up the planks, right? So there's a structure, maybe. You got food and food, then you got the planks of, well, oh, it's all also obviously about the wealth. And actually, the Bible does that in some of the books. Some of his books, biblical authors write that way because they're men, just like the rest of us. Men write that way. Go to a math book and you'll see them doing math equations. Out. Go to a history book and you see them writing history. You see people writing stories that way. I mean, people do that. It's the people who wrote the God wasn't like mind controlling the person to do it exactly. They're men writing under the influence of God. I guess in a sense it might have been mind control. The spirit control. But these are proverbs. We could look at verses 1 through 8 that way. I think something different's going on. All right. Verse 9. Don't speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Um, Talks about another kind of man. There's a rich man, then there's a selfish man. But right in the middle, wealth, in talking about a man, I guess it's talking about you. But the first person is a selfish man, food, and you. The second one is wealth and you. The third one is a ruler, food and you. The second one is wealth and you. The third one is a selfish man, food and you. Then we get down to verse 9. It's a fool and you. Verse 10. Ancient boundaries and you do not move the ancient boundaries. Verse 11. For there's strong. So, oh, wait. Verse 9 seems to be by itself. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Do not move the ancient boundary or go into the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is strong. He will plead their case against you. Verse 9 seems just to stand out by itself. Verse 10 and 11 seem to go together. We're not, I mean, are we going to try to say, well, maybe it's more about food and stuff? Do not move past the boundary of your lips. You know, no. I mean, if you want to read it that way, but For their Redeemer is strong. So really, it's not really even talking about the boundaries so much, or going to the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is strong. He, the fatherless person, he will plead their case. Maybe the Redeemer will plead the son's case. The fatherlesses, not fatherlicious. Sounds kind of strange. The people who are fatherless, the Redeemer will plead their case. So now, verse 10 and 11, we're talking about by themselves. You could say you are a fool if you move the ancient boundaries, but verse 9 doesn't say don't be a fool. It says don't speak in the hearing of a fool. They will despise the wisdom of your words. So it's assuming you have wisdom. So we take that and put it into verse 10. Do not move the ancient boundary marker. Well, yeah, we already have wisdom, but we're getting more wisdom. Verses 9 and verses 10 and 11 don't seem much have to do with each other, except in a very general sense. And verse 9 doesn't seem to have to do with verse 876, and then 5-4 as wealth, and then 3-2-1 is food again. They seem self-contained units, you know, seem like a train. There's one train, there's one car, and then it's hooked to another car, hooked to another car, hooked, and they're pulling each other. So there is a general, they are connected, but you'll have I live with a lot. I live trains transport agriculture products. So oftentimes, so I'll say one car has rice, one car has wheat, one car has corn, one car has flour. They're not like all mixed together. They're all food. They're all going to potentially the same place, but then they might drop off some cars and take. They're all self-contained. Proverbs' general driving force is, where's it at? Knowledge, but more importantly, wisdom. All about wisdom. Be smart. That's why they can have this separate things. Verses 1-3, separate in 4 and 5, which is separate from 6, 7, 8. Even though 6, 7, 8 has to do with food also, it's a separate type of wisdom. Don't eat the food of a selfish man for this reason. Up here, be careful when you sit down and eat the food of rulers. And here, you don't want wealth. It's all, let's be wise people. Don't move the ancient boundary markers. That's immoral. And hey, the fatherless people, they have strong advocates for them. So be careful. You're going to get in trouble. You're being wise. See if we go on. Okay. Apply to your heart to discipline, in your ears to words of knowledge. Now, discipline. You will be disciplined if you move the ancient boundary markers. You should apply discipline when you're going to speak in front of a fool. Way, apply discipline and don't do it. Actually, that's patience. Let's see what Proverbs means by be patient and be smart. Don't do it. Resist the temptation. What's it say up here? Put a knife to your throat. If you are a man of great appetite, resist the temptation. But what is discipline down here? Apply your heart to discipline, your words to knowledge. Don't hold back discipline from your child. Although you strike him with the rod, he will not die. Oh, discipline. Oh, like that. Corporal discipline. You shall strike him with the rod and rescue his soul from Sheol. So he's doing bad things. You spank him, you punish him. He stops doing them, hopefully, in order to learn from it. He becomes a better person. Hopefully, that's what happens. Now, if you did that, then maybe a man would know, oh, wait, I don't go eat the delicacies of a king and just stuff my face. Oh, wait, I shouldn't go wandering around in the field of the fatherless. If you're a kid, I'll get disciplined. If you're an adult, you'll now start to remember, oh, wait, I'm now growing in wisdom and knowledge. My son, if your heart is wise, my own heart also will be glad. So this is talking about striking your child, disciplining your child. And this talks about your child, if your heart is wise, my own heart will be glad. This says right here. Do not move the earth filled with the fatherless, or their redeemer is strong. So you're talking about someone else. Apply hard towards your knowledge to discipline, but don't hold back discipline from your child. So you apply discipline to your own heart, and don't be afraid to apply discipline to your child. Now, my son would be someone talking to me. The person was telling me not to discipline my child. Well, to discipline my child. Now they're telling me, hey, if your heart is wise, my own heart will also be wise. Who's the my? Is this a son, a father talking to his son? Is this the way the whole time, the whole book of Proverbs? Actually, most of them not. A lot of them no. Don't get confused and think, wait a minute. So this whole time, okay, my son, when you sit down, you could say it that way, but you could say it that way, and it might have possibly been that way, like a literal son. Might just be a friend talking to a friend. It might be an older person talking to a younger person, my son. But if we want to try to get super specific, we'll end up missing the general points that they're trying to give us. And the general overall point, wisdom. If we start trying to go, wait, my son, my inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak right. So my son, their redeemer is strong. They'll plead their case against you, my son. We start trying to look at it like that. Oh, is there a story going on here? Maybe the father, maybe the father knew his son was wandering into ancient places and moving. The father knows that his son has a food problem, has a gluttony problem. So that's why he's talking to his kids. So this is about family dynamics. That's what Proverbs. We're getting a little Proverbs. We read some of it, doesn't seem to talk about family dynamics at all. It talks about everyday stuff. I want to apply this to me and to everybody. I don't think the whole book is meant to be a father to a son, family dynamic. Like I just, you see, you take the Proverbs the wrong way, you end up running roughshod. You end up running away from what it is. Let's see. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but live always in the fear of the Lord. Surely there is a future and and your hope will not be cut off. This verses 17 and 18 could be with verses 15 and 16. My son, if your heart's wise, my own heart is glad. Awesome. So you make people happy by being wise. My inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak right. You make people happy when you do the right thing. Yeah, I do. I get happy whenever I'm like in children's church. Um, and kids would do the right thing, and my heart would be so happy. And I would tell them, "You're making me happy right now." The point of this, 15 and 16 could move on to 17 and 18. And don't let your heart envy sinners, but live always in the fear of the Lord. But he doesn't say, and my heart will be happy, my son. Surely there's a future, and your hope, my son, it doesn't say my son, will not be cut off. Verses 17 and 18 could be separate. But like I say, they're attached, like railroad cars. They're all train cars attached to one another, going to the same destination, God, via the same track, wisdom. Okay, that's a good little thing, right? The track is wisdom, the destination is God. Yeah. They're all being pulled. Oh, wait, I said they're being pulled by wisdom. Oh man, see these analogies that you try and make, and word pictures, they always break down. Because I'm so literal minded. I want to see the structure, like I said about a bridge, the pillars in the water, then the planks in between, then you hook them with the nails, then you put boards to hold them together, then you do this, then you do that, and you can see like an architect or like an engineer. I kind of want to do that, but I know it's not always that way. Now with bridges, I hope it is that way. I hope they don't go, well, this might be this and this might be that. I don't know. Maybe we put a nail, maybe we did. No, I want them to do that with wisdom, though. Morals, there are black and whites. Don't go killing anybody for fun. Wisdom, though, is more circumstantial. You might do one thing in one circumstance that you wouldn't do in another. Um, I think if you read the rest of it, and you think about stuff that I just said, you'll kind of get a feel for it. The rest of chapter 23. You can read other chapters. Some of the chapters, like chapter 1 and 2, like I think chapters 1 through 8, kind of confusing, maybe 9. They are more talking about one thing the whole time. Then he gets into these general wisdom sayings. Some chapters are like one verse after another. Like this, 3 verses right here, 1 through 3, almost tells a story. Or down at the very bottom. What's that? Starts at verse 29, goes down all the way to verse 35. Talks about drinking and getting drunk and looking dumb when you're drunk and doing stupid things. Kind of tells a story. Most of the proverbs are not that way. Just to give you a heads up. Well, guys, that was pretty good, I guess. A general overview of proverbs from chapter 23. Okay. All right. We'll see you all in next very basic Bible.